Right, so I'm back with another episode of Top 5 Mods, a series where I think of random things and also showcase mods. About the top 5 of them, so let's get started. Oh yeah, also I thought I wasn't sick anymore, but apparently I still am, or at least my voice is not 100% right now. But as they say, the show must go on. So yeah, I survived the accumulative hangover from Club Fusion, only I somehow lost my pet Deathclaw and adopted kid. I'm starting to question whether or not I'm actually a responsible father. But anyways, losing things is no reason to stop searching for mods, so at number 5 we've got Camo, Marine Armor, and Wetsuit. So yeah, I accidentally called in my power armor on a rooftop with my flare gun, and my magic jetpack ring is in that other universe, so I can't really get to my power armor anymore. So I need some better armor, and what better than marine armor? With some nice and custom paint jobs. I mean, it's basically power armor, but just a tiny bit less bulky. So this mod adds in a whopping 5 paint jobs for you to use on marine armor. You can choose from woodland. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of trees around anymore, but in case they grow back, you're definitely prepared with this camouflage. But also urban for when the streets happen to be covered in snow. Tundra for some darker looking green. And then we also got navy and desert for if you're thinking about going back to the Mojave. But to actually get your hands on this armor, you have to perform some chores. You have to venture to Far Harbor and make your way over to Old Longfellow's shack. You then have to hit him exactly once in the crotch region with your tactical flamingo. You then find the armor in his outhouse. You might have to scrub it just a tiny bit to get rid of the smell, but it should still work just fine. But yeah, these paint jobs look pretty good, and you can choose whichever one you prefer to just spice up your assault armor. I mean, it's already some pretty cool armor. It's got excellent crotch protection as well as superb shin protection. And if all that wasn't good enough, this mod also replaces the self-destruct button with a tactical stunning. I don't know what that is, and I don't know what it's supposed to be, but if it makes me more tactical, I like it. Anyways, that is the armor portion out of the way. We are nicely protected. My crotch has just never been safer. And I also think my shins should hold up this time. So it's time to go find some shelter. Now I heard of this new home I could settle into. To find it, we'll have to go to Fiddler's Dreams, which is somewhat northwest of Diamond City. Then you'll just have to turn around and it should be right there. It looks a bit broken down on the outside, but they say you should never judge a tank by its cover. So you climb inside and you're immediately greeted by a Vault-Tec poster. Well, you've got a cozy little hole you can sleep in. So off on the left you've got a collection of mini nukes, a bobblehead, and an assortment of MREs with some purified water right next to it. As well as a very comfortable bedroll. You just have to make sure you don't hit your head on the ladder when you wake up. In the middle you've got the Vault-Tec poster as well as various post-it notes, some lovely drugs, and 2 gas masks. On the right you've got a laser rifle, some field manuals, and some more MREs just in case you get the munchies. Oh yeah, and also a chair, very important. Up front you've got some magazines as well as the driver seats. But if you take a closer look, the whole thing kinda looks like a vertibird cockpit merged with some metal. I guess they like recycling before the war. But overall this is a pretty cozy little home. It fits pretty well into the world. It feels like a hidden little hideout. And I like the fact that you can actually see the power connection on the outside. It's a pretty neat little touch right there. Although I don't think you'd be able to see much out of the periscope on the inside. Well, now that we got our armor and we've got a very spacious place to sleep in, it's time to go get a gun. So we'll go with the M3D Sauer P228 at number 3. So to get your hands on this thing, you have to go to Hardware Town, which is just a tiny bit southwest of Diamond City. There you'll be immediately greeted by some gunners. So take out your rocket-assisted baseball bat, smack the first guy, and go inside. Make your way to the very back and wonder why you're suddenly on fire, only to realize that somebody is actively trying to barbecue you with a flamethrower. So take care of that guy and go upstairs. Then on the desk you'll find the Diplomat, which is a unique variant of the P220 pistol, with a stylish wooden grip. So this thing is pretty customizable. You can add a bunch of different receivers, some different grips, larger and more tactical magazines, muzzles, compensators, and a suppressor. Also an underbarrel attachment such as a flashlight, a laser, or a miniature bayonet. Seriously, look at how tiny that cute little knife right there is. And finally, you can also attach a red dot to this thing. So I created 3 variants, vanilla with some red glow sights, for when you just want to keep a low profile and you don't want to appear like you're a show-off. Secondly, the one with the walnut grip and a suppressor for the strong and silent type with a more refined taste. And finally, a tactical variant with an extra large magazine, a red dot, and a letter opener strapped to it. I mean, in the right pose, it is pretty stylish. So this gun looks good, you can craft pretty much any flavor you like, and when you fire this thing you'll notice that it's got a nice and beefy sound effect. Like it's got some oomph to it. I decided to try it out on a group of raiders who seemed surprisingly fine with me murdering every single one of them. I guess they can appreciate science. But the pistol seemed effective enough, the bayonet surprisingly also seemed long enough to actually cause some damage. So overall, a pretty cool little pistol. But I need a bigger gun. I mean, I'm not compensating or anything, I just like having more firepower. So we'll go with the Modular AN94 Abakan. So to get your hands on this thing, well, you can just craft it at a weaponsmith workbench, but that's boring. So an alternate way of getting the Abakan is to first assassinate the mayor of Diamond City. Then, while you're busy coughing up tiny bits of bottle cap, jump straight down and leave the crime scene. With your new shin guards, you should be just fine. Then test out how much of a baseball player that swatter guy actually is.
Come back here, damn it! Where'd you go? 3 strikes.
Okay, apparently not much of a baseball player. Also, nobody seemed too bothered about this untimely demise. And finally, you have to try and make up with Preston.
Some things are unforgivable.
Which didn't entirely work for me, but it's important that you try. Then you have to go back to Fiddler's Dream and just go inside your tank, and you'll find out that about 500 of them have magically appeared in your cozy little home. Apparently this place has more space than I thought. Anyways, pick up about 5 of them and just leave the rest in case Preston ever decides to start up that scene producer again. So this thing has some receivers you can strap to it, a longer barrel, some stocks, larger magazines, including an extra large magazine, some scopes and suppressors, and you can rechamber it from 5.56 to 38, 308 or 50 cal. And if that wasn't good enough, you can also shoot incendiary rounds, explosive rounds, and plasma infused rounds. Finally, you can choose from one of 3 paint jobs, green, Vault-Tec, and gold camo, for those that have enough headshots. So this gun looks very good, it's got some nice and crisp textures, and also the vanilla black finish looks very sleek. I again decided to make a few different variants, a plain looking one, a tactical variant with a polymer stock, a larger magazine, a red dot on top, and a fancy high-tech suppressor. But also a woodland variant in case the trees do grow back, with an even larger magazine, a folded stock, and a PSO scope on top. And the last one I decided to make just a tiny bit more extravagant, but still very much tactical. With an extra large magazine, a bayonet, some tactical gold camo. I mean, reloading this thing seems like it'd be quite cumbersome. But yeah, this weapon does look good, but you can't really see your front post when you aim through the iron sights. And when you start firing this thing, you'll notice that it uses the vanilla sound effects. And it does not have a fitting reloading animation. Yeah, my tastes have become somewhat more refined since the Scar H from last week. So it's again got that charging handle issue that so many weapons suffer from, which grab the damn mag does not fix in this case. You're pulling that charging handle back with some strong willpower. But instead of fitting reloading animations, you do get some nice incendiary and explosive ammo, which seem to work quite well against the Raider volunteers I assembled. A tiny bit too well, actually. Well, now that we're all geared up, it's time to throw it all out the window, because at number 1 this week we've got Frost Survival Simulator. Now what is Frost? Well, it's the success that does for Fallout New Vegas, so this transforms Fallout 4 into a free-form survival game. In Frost, the game is set just after the Great War, and as the name would suggest, you're smack dab in the middle of a nuclear winter, which is definitely the best type of winter. But with it being set in the 21st century, the vanilla factions, the main quest, and most NPCs have been removed. Instead, there's other factions, such as the crumbling remnants of the US Army and the so-called Federation. There's also visual storytelling, the type where you look at things and determine what transpired. And that still doesn't quite do it for you, there's also hundreds of notes and terminal entries for you to read. Now, due to the active nuclear winter, most people have decided to settle in underground in the subway system. So this mod, like the Subway Runner mod from last week, connects the vanilla subway stations in the game and adds in a bunch of underground settlements, including an underground city, which reminds me a lot of this other game that starts with the letter M, I think. Anyways, instead of being everybody's henchman, your main goal in this mod is just to survive the very harsh world. A new world is definitely a lot harsher now. There's new enemies, most things in the world now want to kill you, supplies are a lot scarcer, radiation bites just a tiny bit more, well actually a lot more, and you'll sort of need a gas mask in order to not die when you're outside, which also reminds me of that other game with that M. The damage model has also been altered, you dish out more damage, but you're also just a tad bit more delicate. So if you use the supplied save, you start the mod by looking up at a blinking light. You then make your way down to a terminal only to realize that you're within your own subconsciousness. So you try your hardest to remember who you are and just how special you are, but apparently you're so special you don't remember any of it. You then leave your subconsciousness by using the middle door, and you'll find yourself in a cell with a dead guy. Once you make your way out of that, you'll find yourself within the subway system. Now don't take the door to the right, because that leads to some ghouls, and don't follow the tracks to the left, because you'll get blown up by landmines. Instead follow the hole in the wall and jump down into the sewers. This place is relatively safe. There's a bit of radiation, what's with the dirty water, as well as hungry cannibals that will try and kill you, with pool cues. But once you make your way past them, you'll be outside in the midst of the nuclear winter. Oh, and it's pouring too. Things really couldn't get much worse. But then all that's left for you to do is just survive. And as I already mentioned, pretty much everything in this world just wants to kill you. So yeah, good luck. But yeah, if you like it hardcore, it doesn't really get much more hardcore than this. You're a very delicate little tulip, dying within 1 or 2 hits. And you pretty much won't find much of anything. But this is an entirely new playing experience, and this mod is very atmospheric, what's with the shit weather and the harsh environment. It's almost like that one other game that starts with the M. But anyways, that was it for the top 5 this week. As always, we've also got a bonus mod. So this week we've got Nuka Breaker V01. Now the question here boils down to whether or not you've ever wanted to beat people to death with a Nuka-Cola sign. No? Well, that doesn't really matter, because now you can. So this mod adds in a nice and colorfully lit Nuka-Cola sign you can use to beat people's heads in with. So to get your hands on this thing, you'll first have to go to Nuka World, walk past Rayman, and blow up the bottle robot with some nice and powerful Nuka grenades. Then you can pick the sign up from her body. So first use this thing to complete Rayman's transformation. Then use it to beat down the squad of John Caleb Bradpertons that assembled in front of the Nuka World Transit Station. But yeah, this is a pretty cool melee weapon. I have no idea how the Nuka sign is being lit since it's not plugged in, but that doesn't really matter. It seemed quite adequate to take down the John Caleb Bradpertons that tried to kill me. I mean, the Nuka grenade seemed just a tiny bit more effective, but the sign was definitely good for double tapping. Anyways, that was it for this week's mods. Yet again, some very solid mods in there. Will I survive the nuclear winter? Whatever happened to my adopted son and pet Deathclaw? Will I ever be able to sleep comfortably in my tank again with all those weapons poking me at night? Find out potentially in 2 weeks, because next week I won't be making one of these episodes. More on that later, in that rambly bit. So yeah, until then. Yeah, so as I mentioned in the intro, apparently I'm still sick, or at least I was trying to do this voiceover and I realized that my voice wasn't 100%, so it might sound a tiny bit raspy right now. I'm not sure what that's about. I mean, it is early in the morning right now. I just had my coffee, so maybe that's it. I'm not sure. But yeah, first things first, so this episode got a tiny bit delayed because I was gone for 1 day during the weekend. I was far, far away up north in my country. At this one run of 8 kilometers, 7 kilometers, I can't really remember. Anyways, I finished 2nd place, not 1st place. Some dickhead had to go ahead and be faster than me, but 2nd place was good enough. They wouldn't give me a prize though, which was really disappointing. Anyways, that's the reason for this being late, but that's for the reason why I won't be bringing out one of these next week. I'm gonna be gone over the weekend again, so that kind of makes it difficult to make these episodes, because I do normally do them in the weekend nowadays. And if I'm not there in the weekend, I can't really create one of these episodes. And aside from my flourishing YouTube career, I also got uni, so you know, there's that time thing that becomes difficult sometimes. Anyways, that was the excuse right there. So I'll see you again in 2 weeks. You could also watch some of these other wonderful videos that I bring out, like the one in the bottom left corner right now. You should definitely go watch that one, or subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely subscribe. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it. So until next time.